Right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We had started off with Babu Sujud al-Sahw, the chapter which is speaking about Sajdatul Sahw, where a person makes an extra two sajdas because of a mistake they may have made. And we mentioned why people make Sujud al-Sahw. And we said that if a person increases an action that is an action performed in Salah, however, it's something extra. So, for example, two ruku, two sujud, etc., he makes that sajda. Also, if he misses out a wajib, for example, the first sitting, etc., he makes sajda to sahw. Inshallah, today we'll finish off the chapter. It's a few more masail which they mention. The first is if a person is performing salah where there's more than two rak'at, okay, more than two, and as he's in the second rak'ah, we know that he has to sit here as he's in the second rak'ah. He doesn't sit. He forgets to sit and he's going towards the third. Okay? Let's say he's supposed to sit here. He didn't and he's going towards the third rak'ah. And then he hasn't yet stood up completely. What does he do? Let's say he's somewhere here in the middle. They say, remember we're taking the Hanafi madhab. If he's closer to the sitting position, okay? If he's closer to the sitting position, he must return. So, for example, the person is getting up, he's still bent down, or his knees are still on the ground, or one knee is on the ground, etc. He's closer to the sitting position. He must return and he doesn't have to make sajda to sahw. And if he's closer to the standing position, or he's already stood up, then he mustn't return back to the sitting. Why? Because he's standing here in the third rak'ah is a rukun, a pillar of salah. As for his sitting, first sitting is not a pillar, it's wajib, it's less. So you cannot leave a rukun to go back to complete a wajib. So if he's closer to standing, then he carries on with his salah, he carries on standing, and he makes sajda to sahu at the end of his salah. So very simple. If he's closer to the sitting position, he goes back and there's no sajda to sahu. And if he's closer to the standing position, he carries on with his salah into the third rak'ah. However, he must make sujood sahu for having missed the first sitting in salah. Okay? Then in the Hanafi madhab, they give you another scenario. If a person's already read four rak'at, okay? They've already read four and they standing towards the fifth. So they forget to sit and they standing towards the fifth. Okay. Any time before sujood in the fifth rak'ah, if he remembers, he must return. Why? Because the fifth rak'ah is not part of any salah. So he's doing something extra in the first place. Whereas scenario number one, the third rak'ah is still part of that salah. Here, the fifth rak'ah is not part of his salah. So if he remembers while he's standing, while he's in ruku, he's got up from ruku, he must return back and he must make sajda to sahw. And they say that if he remembers after making sujood in the fifth rak'ah, his salah is no longer counted as fard. If it was fard, then it becomes nafil and he must repeat his salah again. But that's in the Hanafi madhab. So anything extra above what's stipulated, he must come back. The Hanafi madhab say if he's already reached sujood in the fifth rak'ah, then that salah will turn into nafil. And it's recommended for him to finish it off for the sixth rak'ah. Okay, but what I want you to remember is fifth rak'ah you don't complete if you remember, you come back. Okay, then they speak about a person who has doubt. Okay, shak, person who has doubt. The D there. Either it's the first time it's happening to him, or it it happens frequently. Okay. In the Hanafi madhab, if it's the first time it's happened to a person, he's doubting, have I read 3 or have I read 4? They say that he must break his salah and start again. That's their opinion. Wallahu alam, more correct opinion is, and more practical is, it what we'll take in this condition here will apply to all conditions. So they say that if it's his first time, then he must break his salah and start again. And bearing in mind here, they're talking about shak. Shak is where your doubt is equal, 50-50. So is it your third or is it your fourth? 50% it's my third, 50% is my fourth. You're not sure. However, sometimes it can happen where you're thinking and you're 90% sure, 99% sure that, you know what, I'm on the fourth rak'ah, but you have that small doubt. So that's to do with dhann and ghalabat al-dhann, etc. So when it comes to a person who frequently forgets, okay, here we can't tell him to break his salah even in the Hanafi madhab. So they say that if it happens a lot, he must go according to his ghalabatul dhann. Ghalabatul dhann means according to what he thinks is more likely correct. So he's not 50-50. Let's say he constantly doubts that, you know what, am I in the third, am I in the fourth, am I in the first, am I in the second? We tell him, go what you think is more like, what you feel is more likely correct. So are you leaning more towards you read less or more towards you read more? So you go with ghalabatul dhann. And if this person who constantly forgets, it's equal. He's not sure. He's 50-50. Here they'll tell him you build on the lesser amount because that's yaqeen, that's definite. So if a person is doubting that, have I read 3 or have I read 4? And doubt 50-50 is not sure. Here we tell him that you've read 3 because that's definite and you're not sure. You don't have any thought which is more overpowering. So we'll take the lesser amount, so you're on the safer side, and you make an extra rak'ah, and he makes sajdatul sahu. And when it comes to a person having shak for the first time, even though it's not the Hanafi madhab, but a more correct opinion is he falls into this category also. So if he's got a ghalabatul dhann, he's sure that, you know what, I'm actually on the fourth, he carries on with his fourth. And if he's got shak half, then he goes with that which is less. And as I mentioned to you earlier, in the other madhahib, they have different criteria when it comes to sajdatul sahu, how to perform sajdatul sahu, the different methods, etc., and what sajdatul sahu is performed for. And bearing in mind that there's one thing which they agree on is sajdatul sahu cannot make up for something which has been missed if it's a pillar of salah. So for example, going to the fifth rak'ah, okay? The fifth rak'ah is not part of the salah. So that's why they tell him come back. And the Hanafi madhab, if he hasn't yet reached sujood. However, let's say a person only read 3 and he's supposed to have been reading 4. He can't say, let me read 3 and make sajdatul sahu, because his sajdatul sahu cannot compensate for the extra rak'ah he's missed, because there are pillars of salah that are involved, and a pillar of salah cannot be